Primary election for the county executive seat is 1 month away. In the next coming weeks, CTV will be bringing exclusive interviews with each of those candidates. And joining us in the studio today is candidate and former county executive Rushern Baker. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Mr. Baker.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back. It's always good to be at CTV.
All right. So just to get started, going into this year, the county is facing a $10 million deficit. Where do you see potential cuts in the budget or avoiding cuts in the budget?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons I decided to run. If you look at what's going on, not only at the state level, which has a $3 billion budget deficit, you have a federal government that's somewhat hostile to the Prince George's County area, and now you have a $70 million budget deficit for the county itself. So coming in, that budget is going to be presented on March 15th to the council. So coming in, we want somebody who understands how to look at the budget, understand it, and make cuts where you need to make cuts, and invest where you need to invest. And so for me, what my budgets look like when I was county executive, and I'll do the same thing, is priority on public safety and education, and then we figure out what we're going to do at the rest of the area.
Mm-hmm. And if we're still dealing with that deficit, and we don't know what's coming from the federal administration yet, that could worsen the situation. So how do you see, balancing that budget without, getting rid of critical services?
Well, first of all, you have to make a priority. And that's what I would do, is make sure public safety is a priority in the budget, that they're funded. And that's not just our police officers, that's our firefighters, corrections, state's attorney's office. Because if people and businesses don't feel safe in the county, they won't invest and they won't come here. And I know that firsthand. The second thing is our education system. Our property tax values of our homes are based on our education system. Having a good quality K through 12 public education is very important. So I've always maintained those budgets as close to whole as possible, and then we found other ways to make changes. But the most important thing that was done during the 8 years, and this worked for us the last time we faced a budget of that size, is that we actually increased our commercial tax base. And so if you look at things like MGM, Whole Foods, New Carrollton Development, all of that was designed to put revenue back into Prince George's County, and it did. And we can do the same thing now, but you need to know what you're doing when you get in there. So experience in this case is not just valuable, it's essential.
Mm-hmm. And can you promise the residents of Prince George's that their taxes won't go up if you become the county executive?
Yeah, I think what we need to do this time is to actually cut our property tax base. And that way because residents are moving. We don't want people moving. We want businesses and residents to stay here. So I would look to cut the property taxes. But in order to do that, you have to increase the business taxes. That means you have to bring development here, you have to bring corporations here. And that's the thing that I've did, one of the things I was known for when I was county executive 6 years ago. We actually had our commercial tax base going up. And we were leading Maryland in terms of job creation. And that's what we have to do now, because that's also what's going to save us with the threats to the federal government, both employees themselves and businesses that rely on the federal government. I've dealt with the Trump administration in the past, so I know how to deal with them. But in order for us to make sure that we have opportunities for everybody, you have to grow the businesses in the county and that business tax base.
So you're saying that you would increase taxes to businesses and cut property taxes?
No, we wouldn't have to actually increase taxes to businesses. What we would do is, so when we faced this problem when I was county executive, I created the $50 million Economic Development Fund. It sort of works like Biden's Build Back, America. So that fund we used to invest in businesses that were willing to come to Prince George's County, hire employees, and therefore creating an economy here that actually brings up our commercial tax base. So without raising taxes at all, you think of something like, good example is MGM.
Right.
MGM was built for $1.4 billion, but what it generated back to Prince George's County in taxes was $47 million. So that's money we can use for our public safety, for our education, and for our healthcare.
And so, like you said, when it comes to building up the economy, we need safe streets and we need good schools. And one thing that we keep hearing in Annapolis is these plans to cut the Blueprint Fund to kind of help with this budget deficit. So what would you do to protect the money that's promised to Prince George's in the Blueprint?
So first of all, we have to fight for the Blueprint to be funded. We know, just like I had to make priorities as county executive, and will do again when I'm county executive, the governor has to do the same thing. And so we want to protect that money because that helps us. We also want to make sure that we're protecting our school system, that we're investing in the way that we need to. We're investing to say this county is going to grow and it's going to be prosperous, but we have to invest into our education system. And we definitely have to invest into our public safety. One of the things that I've noticed is over the last 6 years, Prince George's County has gone up in the number of homicides we've seen in the county, the number of carjackings, and the number of robberies. 6 years ago, we were one of the safest places in America. And so in order to get back to that, it means we have to invest in public safety. Same thing with our firefighters and others. I've noticed looking at the budget over the last few years, we're down about 300 police officers, and we're down about 200 fire and EMS officers. So we've got to build that back up so people feel safe and businesses feel safe coming here and investing here.
So your solution to the safety issue is to further fund safety like police and firefighters. But where do you get those funds when we're already dealing with a budget deficit?
So you make that funding first. Just like, when you get your paycheck, the most important thing if you own a house is to pay your mortgage. You pay the mortgage first, and then you decide how you're going to deal with the rest of the government. This is why it's so important to have experience as county executive. This is a $4 billion corporation that on March 4th, someone's going to step into. If you're me, you already know how to deal with the budget deficit and how to make those priorities. And so investing in public safety and investing in education, and then deciding where we have to make some choices. And then, as the question you asked earlier about the Blueprint, we have to make sure that's funded at the state level. Because if we don't get our share from the state level, then it's going to require Prince Georgians to raise their taxes in order to pay a mandated a fee for our education system.
And I just want to end with, the fact that you are running on the fact that you've been county executive before. So what would you do differently this time? How would you better leverage that position to improve the economic state, to give us safer streets, better schools?
And that's just it. I mean, this is a special election where you're only given 2 years on this term. So the person stepping in there has to be county executive on March 4th. And because I have been county executive, I can leverage those contacts that I have at the federal level, which allowed us, even during the Trump administration, it allowed Prince George's County to bottleneck money at the federal level so we could get the FBI to come here. We also were able to build the Purple Line during the Trump administration by using my position as a member of County Executives of America and teaming up with my colleagues from around the country. So that's the type of experience going into each one of these battles that I bring that no one else running has.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today, Mr. Baker.
Thank you.